Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to today's webinar, FY 2023 Adult Treatment Court Planning, Training, Technical Assistance, and Resources Center Initiative, hosted by the Bureau of Justice Assistance. At this time, it's my pleasure to introduce Gregory Terrain, Policy Advisor with the Bureau of Justice Assistance, for welcome remarks and to begin the presentation. Gregory?
All right, thank you, Daryl. Just to let you guys know, I'm going to be presenting, but it looks like my computer is going in and out of this interruption. So there may be some times where I might go in and out. I apologize for that. Again, thank you, Daryl, and thank you all for attending today's Adult Treatment Court TTA solicitation webinar. I'm one of your panelists, Gregory Terrain, Policy Advisor. You'll also be hearing from Dr. Courtney Stewart, the other Policy Advisor and panelist. Next slide. So for today's agenda, we'll be going over what is the Office of Justice Programs as well as the Bureau of Justice Assistance. We'll go over OJP and BJA strategic focus as well as our priority areas. We'll go over the grant eligibility, grant categories, and the requirements. We'll review some of the sections of the application, including the critical elements of the application. We'll go over a few tips for those that look to apply for this award. And then we'll go over some resources for applicants, and then we'll do a Q&A. Next slide, and I'll turn this over to Courtney.
Thank you, Greg. Some of you may be wondering, what is the Office of Justice Programs? OJP is one of the three grant-making components of the Department of Justice. OJP provides grant funding, training, research, and statistics to the criminal justice community. As you can see on the right of the screen, the offices that fall underneath the Office of Justice Program include BJA, BJS, NIJ, OVC, OJJDP, and the SMART Office. Our mission here at BJA is to provide leadership and services and grant administration and criminal justice policy development to support state, local, and tribe justice strategies to achieve safer communities. BJA also works with communities, governments, and nonprofit organizations to reduce crime, recidivism, and unnecessary confinement, and to promote a safe and fair criminal justice system. Carlton Moore is the new director of BJA. He was appointed by President Biden in February of last year, and Mr. Moore oversees 4 offices, which is our policy office, our programs office, our operations office, and our public safety officer benefits office. And our 5 major strategic focus areas here at BJA are to improve public safety through measures which build trust with the community and ensure an effective criminal justice system, reduction in recidivism, and prevention of unnecessary confinement and interactions with the criminal justice system, integration of evidence-based, research-driven strategies into the day-to-day operations of BJA and the programs BJA administers and supports, increasing program effectiveness with a renewed emphasis on data analysts, information sharing and performance management, and ensuring organizational excellence through outstanding administration and oversight of all of BJA's strategic investments.
All right, Courtney, I'll go and take over the slide. So for BJA, one of the things that we want to do is make sure that we're building strong programs. So for us, we're investing in diverse funding streams to accomplish those goals. Also with our TTA and the work that we do at BJA, we use the research, we deliver, and make sure that we deliver what works. So we're constantly looking at the research. We want to make sure that those in the field that are looking to do this work, that we equip them and create tools and products that build capacity to improve outcomes. And then we're continuously working and consulting with our partners to ensure that we're looking at, again, the latest research, conducting listening sessions and understanding what's going on in terms of trends in the field to make sure that we are creating a strong program here at BJA. Next slide. So there's a couple priority areas. So if you're looking to receive a priority consideration, we have it under 1A and 1B. 1A, if you're looking to apply, you need to address potential racial inequities and contribute to a greater access of services and opportunities for communities that have been historically underserved. marginalized, and adversely affected by inequality. Also, a priority consideration, applicants that demonstrate that their capacities, capabilities, and competencies for implementing their proposed projects are enhanced because they are identified as a culturally specific organization, or at least have one proposed subrecipient that will receive at least 40% of the requested award funding. And also, we'll talk a little bit about where do you respond to these two priority considerations later on in the webinar. Next slide. In regards to training technical assistance, some of our guiding principles for our TTA is that it must be informed by data, supports the needs of the field, and provides research to provide efficient and consistent delivery of services. It reaches members of the field where they are. Continue to assess the impact of our TTA and make refinements to it, as well as anticipate BJA's processes and approvals to proactively manage and share updates and current and relevant information to the drug court field, as well as our grantees. Next slide. The overall goal of this program, the Adult Treatment Court TTA initiative, is to provide the resources needed to plan, implement, and enhance and sustain evidence-based treatment court programs for justice-involved individuals and veterans who may have a history of violence and are diagnosed with a substance use disorder. So I'll turn this back over to Courtney.
Applicants. BJA seeks providers to deliver a range of training and technical assistance, resources, and information to BJA-funded adult treatment courts, veterans treatment courts, community courts, and to the treatment court field at large, as well as to the statewide drug court coordinators who lead this work in their states. Your application deadlines. Please note that you have two application deadlines that you will need to meet. Your grants.gov deadline is May 2nd, 2023 at 8:59 p.m. and your Just Grants deadline is May 9th, 2023 at 8:59 p.m. So please ensure that you keep an eye on your calendar so that you can, as a reminder, to ensure that you have registered on both grants.gov and that you are ready to upload into Just Grants. The following entities are eligible to apply: for-profit organizations other than small businesses, Native American tribal organizations other than federally recognized tribal governments, nonprofits having a 501c3 status with the IRS other than institutions of higher education, nonprofits that do not have a 501c3 status with the IRS other than institutions of higher education, private institutions of higher education, public and state-controlled institutions of higher education, and small businesses. This year we have 6 grant categories, 6 adult treatment court training and technical assistant grant categories. Category 1 is adult treatment court foundational training. Category 2A is the adult treatment court training initiative. Category 2B is resource center. Category 3, adult treatment court site-based TA. Category 4, ATC state-based TA. Category 5, veterans treatment court TTA. And category 6, the community court TTA.
Okay, thank you, Courtney. Hey, Derek, if you can go back to the last slide and just have one more comment. When we look at the award amounts, I do want to make you aware that the funding levels reflect that in year 1, there will be a period of startup and transition working with who the current providers are. So just to add a side note to that. So we can go to the next slide. Okay, for category 1 is the foundational training category. The grant maximum is $2,750,000. The award amount is up to 24 months, and we're looking to make one award within that category. For this category, it trains newly forming adult treatment court teams to understand their roles and responsibilities and successfully implement and sustain an evidence-based adult treatment court program. Under this award, it does support both BJ grantees and the field at large. One of the things I want to make you aware of on the right side, and this is a snapshot of what's in the solicitation, those are the deliverables that you would need to be addressing when you're submitting your application. So I highly recommend that when you're completing the application, you're looking at the specific deliverables related to that grant category and responding to them directly. Next slide. Under category 2A is the training initiative, grant maximum $3.5 million. Period of performance of 24 months. And again, we're looking to make one award under that category. For this category, it delivers, evaluates, and markets and modifies a menu of adult treatment court training courses and publications for improved team functioning based off the research. Again, this will be awarded under category will support BJ grantees and the field at large. And again, within the solicitation, under each category, you'll see deliverables, and again, respond to the deliverables specific to that grant category. Next slide. Under category 2B, the Resource Center, grant maximum $1,750,000. Again, 24-month period of performance. We're making one award, and the Resource Center is a information repository for the criminal justice field as well as the treatment court field. Again, you'll see deliverables on the side as well as in the solicitation. Next slide. And then category 3, site-based TA, grant maximum $3.5 million, 24-month period of performance, and again, one award. One award is provide support to all newly funded and existing adult treatment court grantees to ensure that their courts are operating consistent with the treatment court model and adhering to the NADCP best practice standards and the 10 key components of drug courts. Now I'll turn it back over to Courtney for the next slides.
Thank you, Greg. Our next slide is category 4, adult treatment court, state-based technical assistance and research capacity, state-based TA. The maximum is $3,400,000 for up to 24 months and one award. This category provides support to states and state drug court coordinators to establish performance standards for statewide treatment courts, implement fidelity assessment processes, develop statewide training programs for treatment court teams, engage in statewide strategic planning, implement evidence-based practices, support statewide data collection and evaluation efforts, and to build statewide treatment court capacity. If you look on the right of your screen, those are your deliverables for this grant category, so be sure to review the slides once you receive the entire presentation, and they are also in your solicitation. Next slide. Category 5, Veterans Treatment Court Training and Technical Assistance, Veterans Treatment Court TTA. The grant maximum is $4,500,000 for 24 months, and there will be one award. This category provides support to veterans through coordination with the U.S. Department of Veteran Affairs and court services to address veterans' needs and ensure services are consistent with the Veterans Treatment Court model to include the NADCP best practice standards and the Veterans Treatment Court 10 key components. Again, if you look on the right of your screen, you will see the deliverables that you will be expected to meet if you decide to apply for funding with this category. Next slide, please. Category 6, National Community Courts Training and Technical Assistance, TTA. The grant maximum is $2,500,000. The period of performance is up to 24 months, and there will be one award. This is designed to help judges, court personnel, and other partners to plan, implement, sustain, enhance, and evaluate problem-solving justice initiatives that link justice-involved individuals to treatment, alternative sanctions, and other services in order to reduce substance use, crime, and incarceration. Applicants should be capable of providing TTA in all settings, including rural, where assistance in building capacity may be needed. And as the other categories, your deliverables are on the right of the screen and also located in the solicitation. Next slide. Planning and organizing. Review all of the sections of your application. Application step 1, grants.gov. I think we spoke a little earlier about the grants.gov deadline, so ensure to calendar that so you can meet that deadline. And application for federal assistance, SF 424, and disclosure of lobbying activities, the SFLLL. So please remember to ensure that you have those documents completed. Application step 2, which is in Just Grants. Just Grants requires several documents, which include the proposal abstract, the proposal narrative, the budget web-based form, and then there are also documents that you still have, they're not required, but you still need to submit them if they apply to your application, which is the indirect cost rate agreement, financial management and system of internal controls questionnaire, disclosure of process related to executive compensation, and any additional attachments that your application may need. And if you look on the right of your screen, it gives you a breakdown of all of the documents that you may or may not need to attach to your application. So please, again, be sure to review your application very carefully. And now I will turn it back over to Greg.
All right, thanks, Courtney. So basic minimum requirements. So this is important. This is what we refer to as BMR. So these are the critical elements I was indicating earlier in the agenda as part of the application process. So you see the project proposal abstract, proposal narrative, the budget web-based form, and the timeline web-based form. These are all, again, the critical elements. If your application is missing any of these documents, it will not make it to the review process. This is the initial screening process. One thing I will note is that sometimes I do see challenge with applications when they come in that the applicant think that they sent in the information, it may be labeled proposal abstract, but when we open it up, it's a blank document. So I know sometimes we have a number of people doing applications or putting together an application. Be sure that when you are submitting an application that is the final draft of that document. We see sometimes where the documents that are submitted with a lot of different comments in it, like it's not the final document. Again, make sure you make sure that there's information in that document and it's your final document. Next slide. Okay, so instructions for completing your abstract. So it should summarize the proposed project, including the purpose, the primary activities, the expected outcomes, the service area, and intended beneficiaries and subrecipients. It should be in paragraph form without bullets and tables, written in third person. And please, when you submit the application with the abstract, exclude any personal identifying information, because that information, if you do receive an award, it will become public knowledge and posted on our website. And then lastly, or not lastly with the abstract, it is to be completed in Just Grants web-based form. Next slide. So in terms of the components of the abstract, you need to list the category which you are requesting funding. You need to describe any potential partners and how that agency and its mission will contribute to the overall goals of the TTA collaborative. Describe your agency's experience with the ability to provide interactive training services based off the adult learning theory. Ability to tailor assistance to the target audience, ability to develop and expand online and distant learning resources, and then fourth, ability to develop uniform protocols for evaluating and reporting on programming and treatment court trends. Next slide. Then the proposal narrative, also a required document. With their proposal narrative, the instructions, it should be double-spaced, standard 12-point font, 1-inch margins, pages should not exceed 20, and you should number your pages page 1 of 1, 1 of 2, 1 of 3, all the way to 1 of 20, etc. And this is the proposal narrative should be submitted in Just Grants. If you choose, or if you not choose, but if you end up going beyond the 20-page or fail to do what's in the instructions as it relates to the program narrative, the directions, then you run a chance of your application going through peer reviewer and be in non-compliance. So please play definitely close to the instructions of the narrative. Helpful hint or tip is you may include tables, charts, and graphs. They must be in legible font, no smaller than 12 points. This will count towards your page limit unless you include it as an attachment. So you can include as many attachments as you need, but if you put it in a program narrative, then it will count to your overall 20 pages. Next slide. Okay, I'll turn it back over to Courtney.
Thank you, Greg. Additional information is located on this slide in regards to your proposal narrative. There are 4 sections to your proposal narrative. That would include your description of the issue, which is worth 15%, your project design and implementation, which is worth 40%, capabilities and competencies, 25%, and your plan for collecting data, the data required for this solicitation's performance measures is worth 15%, and your budget and your budget worksheet make up the remaining 5% of your score. So just please ensure that you take your time to develop your proposal narrative so that you can receive all of your points. Next slide, please. Your timeline web-based form. Now, this is a required form, and it should outline goals, objectives, and deliverables to be met during the project period, and it should also summarize major activities, responsible parties, and expected completion dates for principal tasks. Next slide. The budget web-based form is also required, and it requires an itemized budget for each year of the grant. The budget narrative should demonstrate cost-effective strategies for delivering training and technical assistance services. Applicants seeking priority consideration under Priority 1A and or Priority 1B must be reflected in the web-based budget form. Subrecipients should be categorized as either subawards or procurement contracts and also be clearly stated in the proposal narrative. Please refer to the OJP guidance on this topic. This solicitation does not require a match, but if a voluntary match amount is provided and OJP approves the budget, the approved budget becomes mandatory and subject to audit. Prior approval, planning, and reporting of conference meetings, trainings, and costs. So you need to have prior approval before you plan any conferences or meetings or trainings. And the budget web-based form should be completed in Just Grants. Next slide. This slide has all your additional attachments. I just want to run through these really quickly so to be sure that we all know and we've all heard which of the additional attachments you may need to attach to your application. You may need to attach your tribal authorizing resolution, a request for justification for employee compensation waiver, curriculum vitae or resumes of key personnel, list of procurement contracts, organizational chart, memorandum of understanding, timeline web-based form, letters of support, and research and evaluation, independence and integrity. Disclosures and assurances, disclosure of lobbying activities, applicant disclosure of duplication and cost items, Department of Justice certified standard assurances, Department of Justice certifications regarding lobbying, debarment, suspension or other responsibility matters, drug-free workplace requirements, law enforcement, and community policing. And the last one is applicant disclosure and justification, Department of Justice high-risk grantees. And on the right side of your slide are summary of these documents, so please ensure to review in your solicitation, review review all these documents to ensure that you have selected and attached the appropriate documents to your application. And I can turn it over to Greg now.
All right, thanks, Courtney. So I'll go over a couple of tips for you if we are looking to apply. So with Just Grants, please be careful and read how to apply instructions linked to the solicitation, and give yourself plenty of time to complete the grants.gov and Just Grant submission by established deadlines. I did just see, a question related to grants.gov. There is in the solicitation, like how to apply, so that kind of responds to that question, where it goes over how to apply through grants.gov, and there's also a contact email and number if you can contact grants.gov to support you submitting an application. Also, make sure you use the correct UEI number that's entered into the SF424. Within the S24, like Courtney mentioned, that along with the lobbying form, the SFLLL, I believe, both are completed at the first step, which is through grants.gov. So you want to make sure you're registered with SAM, and the specific agency registered under the UIE number in SAM will be responsible for submitting the full application in Just Grants and administering the award if it is funded. Also, the federal request amount is the total grant award you are requesting, and it must be reflected in the Just Grants application information and the budget. The total project cost entered in the budget must include federal and non-federal costs. Next slide. Okay, you should be careful, review OJP grant application resource guide linked in the solicitation, subsection titled information on proposed subawards and proposed procurement contracts, and the resources linked to therein to ensure you're properly categorizing your costs in this section. Every line item in the budget should be identified as either federal or non-federal. And following, as it relates to application attachments, follow instructions exactly as it is on the application and submission section, beginning on page 12. It is helpful for reviewers if you upload each required attachment as a separate file, named number to match the solicitation. If you combine files, please include a table of contents. So I see this a lot. So what you want to do is make sure that, so we have reviewers reviewing these applications, and you want to make it as easy as possible for them to find or locate the attachments. So please use the label of what you're submitting. If it's proposal abstract, you indicate that on the attachment so it's clear to see. And if you also are going to be including a number of documents in one attachment, make a table of contents, because sometimes we can read through it and may not necessarily see it, but if it's on the table of contents, we know it's added in there. Next slide. Okay, the common issues or common challenges. The disclosure of pending application is required for all applicants and is completed in Just Grants. The research and evaluation independence and integrity statement attached is required if you are proposing to use federal funds to pay an outside evaluator. And the timeline web-based form must outline the goals and objectives. I think we went over timeline a little bit earlier as well. And this form is completed in Just Grants. And as you know, that is also a required document as well. Next slide. So solicitation alert. So there is a number of solicitations that are out on the BJA website under funding. This is just another one related to training and technical assistance. This is a tribal justice training and technical solicitation. Just want to make you all aware of it. It was released back in March 27. I'm not saying back like it was a long time ago. But the grant.gov deadline is May 24th and May 31st for the Just Grants deadline. Next slide. Okay, I'll turn this back over to Courtney.
Thank you, Greg. Application assistance. If you need assistance with grants.gov, we have a customer support hotline, and you can also email the customer support. And again, you will receive a copy of these slides with all of this information. So please don't hesitate. If you have any questions for grants.gov, do it sooner than later. Call the customer support hotline so that you don't get held up in submitting your application. Next slide. If you have any questions with Just Grants, we also have Just Grants technical support through a customer service hotline and also through an email. You can email the customer service. So either way, just ensure that you have any questions that you move quickly to get all of the help and support that you need. Next slide. We also have an OJP response center that you can email, web chat, or call, and they will also assist you with questions with your solicitation and general assistance. And then you can also subscribe to receive email notifications of new funding opportunities and other resources. Next slide. And this slide just has a list of links that you can click and get additional resources for your grant application. And I think we're coming to the end, and Greg will wrap us up.
Yeah, thanks, Courtney. And again, the slides that Courtney went over related to OJP's Response Center with grants.gov, that information is links within the solicitation. So if you have questions, please direct those questions through those response centers. That way we can track those questions and we can respond to them as they come to us. In terms of staying connected, you can get BJA email updates by texting OJP as well as and subscribe to 468-311. You can also reach us via Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube. And you can also find information related to other funding opportunities, publications, and other initiatives that we support on the BJA website. Next slide. Again, this is just short reference to what we mentioned earlier. Again, grants.gov, you need any technical assistance related to the SF424 or the SLLL, you can contact the grants.gov support center, as well as if you're looking to submit when you are looking to submit the full application through Just Grants, that's the technical support information there. And any other technical assistance with programmatic requirements again, it's through the OJP Response Center, and we'll respond in that way. Next slide. Okay, so what I'd like to do now is turn it back over to Daryl so we can address any questions that you may have for both myself and Courtney.
Wonderful. Thanks so much, Greg, and thanks, Courtney, for that informative presentation. And just a reminder to everybody on today's webinar that the PowerPoint transcript and caption recording will be posted. So there's a lot of information on these slides. You'll be able to go back and reference that once they are. Everybody will receive an email to the email they registered with today where those can be found. If you do have a question, far bottom right, 3 dots, QA, send all panelists, and we'll queue those up with the remaining 20 or so minutes we have today. Greg, you did already kind of cover help assistance related to grants.gov. I'll go back to that resource slide here. For the person that asked that question, you can go to their website here, and there's information available on their website, how-tos and such related to that step of the process. As Greg mentioned, that is the first step. That is a deadline you must meet in order to move on to the other Just Grants deadline. So I'll leave this slide up for you to capture that information. It's also in the chat for you to hyperlink to as needed. And as far as the application, are we allowed to collaborate with other organizations when applying?
Yeah, this is Greg. Yeah, we definitely highly encourage you to develop collaborative partners. If you're looking to apply, there may be services that you provide that you can put in the application, or there may be gaps in service that you can provide. If there's another entity that you're looking to partner with that'll make your application more stronger or more robust, definitely work together to submit an application. So I highly recommend that you do that. Again, only one agency that is applying can be the applicant. And please make sure that when you're reviewing the application, you clearly understand the eligibility requirements. Last thing you want to do is submit an application and you're not meeting the eligibility requirements.
I'll go ahead and put up this slide just for a moment to just get an expanse on the eligibility. And then the next question is regarding the amount and the number of awards under this opportunity. Greg, I'll go ahead and put this slide 16 up if you just want to briefly just summarize. Can people apply up to the maximum amount or the full amount?
Yes, you could. We definitely highly encourage you to apply for the maximum amount. Yes, you definitely should apply for the maximum amount of the award. Again, these are period of performance is 24 months, so you would be indicating that total amount for 2 years. So yes, we highly encourage you to request up to that. So if you're applying under foundational training, you would be requesting the $2,750,000.
And then can you clarify the differences between the MOU and the letters of intent and the letters of support? There's descriptions very similar within the solicitation, and they didn't know if there was a difference between those.
Yeah, the MOU is if you're working to have a partner that you're working with as part of your application, you would do a memorandum of understanding indicating how they will be, what will be that agreement with that partner. I know we had a question related to can we work with other agencies? So that's when, if you're going to be the applicant, you're the eligible applicant, and then you would be doing an MOU indicating who the other agency and what their role would be in the application. So you got letters of support that may be coming from who your potential partners may be, or from that community, or what you're looking to do that indicate that they're supporting the work that you're doing or will be doing as part of this application.
Within deliverables for the statewide category 4, it asks, maintain an online project management tool that helps manage the project, deliverables, activities, and ensure BJA has access to it. Is this the same as the NTAC, National Training and Technical Assistance Center?
No, the NTAC is the BJA. That when you're one of the things that we want when you're requesting funding and you're looking to have a online management system, you should have a system in place to be able to accept requests for training technical assistance and be able to manage those that TA support. So you should have a system to be able to manage the requests you get, as well as provide recommendations. And so it should be a system that you have in place to be able to collect information from those who are requesting training and technical assistance from you that indicates what you're, that's consistent with the deliverables.
Great, thanks so much. That's the end of the questions in the queue. We will do have some more time today. If you do have a question, enter that in. And while we're waiting, I'll also put up this slide here with a quick reference. Once we conclude today, if you have any questions regarding the programmatic aspects of the solicitation, the OJP Response Center is going to be who you want to contact here, 1-800-851-3420, or at grants@nctrs.gov. The other two, just grants and grants.gov, will be with those systems, and you can contact them at this information. It's also in the chat for you to access and click on. And those links are being put in as we speak. Thank you, Tammy.
Okay.
Okay, we can wait a few more moments. If you do have a question, please go ahead and enter that in. Okay, I don't see anything else coming in at this time. Greg, Courtney, is there anything you want to kind of mention before we conclude today? We can all obviously hang on a few more moments. Oh, there we go. A question has come in. How do you indicate that you're applying for a priority area 1A or 1B?
So, and so what you want to do is it's two locations where you would do that. So in the abstract, you would indicate what priority consideration that you're applying for. And then also under 1A, I believe it's in the program narrative, you would also indicate that as well, which category you're applying for. So you're gonna indicate it in the abstract, and then you'll also include it as part of the indicated in the program narrative is where that would be.
Seems to be the end of the questions in the queue at this time.
Yeah. And just to be more direct related to that, in the project design and implementation section, that's where you would indicate whether you're applying for prior consideration 1A, and under capabilities and competency section is where you would indicate prior consideration 1B.
Okay, so with that, Greg, Courtney, is there anything in closing you wanted to mention?
Yeah, I'm sorry, go ahead, Courtney.
Oh, thank you. Again, I just want to reiterate to ensure that you really read your application, the solicitation, very thoroughly. Ensure that you have attached all of the required documents, any of the additional documents that you need, and use your resources. So if you need to call any of the customer service lines, be sure to call them so that you can get some assistance, and do it sooner than later so you don't have to wait and hold up your application. Greg?
Yep, and I'll just say ditto that what Courtney said. Just make sure you read through it carefully, you understand the application, and good luck. We look forward to your applications, and we're excited about this process. And again, we know we have a strong program here at BJA. And me and Courtney would definitely say our treatment court program is extremely strong for the years, especially with our strong TTA. So we're really excited about these applications we look forward to, and again, good luck.
So on behalf of the Bureau of Justice Assistance and our panelists, we want to thank you for joining today's webinar. This will end today's presentation.